Welcome to our webinar today. Today we're going to be talking about the value of a rear view mirror, and we have Malcolm from Shop Consult here with us, or Salon Business Coach. It says brand down there on the bottom, and he's going to be taking us through this. Malcolm.
Hey Donna, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good, good. Ready to rock and roll?
Excellent. Way you go.
Oh, okay, I'm underway. Hi everyone, welcome along to today's webinar. Just before I get underway, I want to know if you can all see my screen. So on your computer somewhere, you'll be able to put your hand up. So if you can see the screen that says the value of a rear view mirror, and it's got the Katoomba and the Salon Business Coach logo on it, please just raise your hand so I know that you can see the screen.
Yeah, we've got
Donna,
4 hands up.
hands being raised.
Great, yep.
Cool, brilliant. Okay, fantastic. So I guess I don't need to ask the next question, and that is, can you hear me? Because obviously you can. Excellent. So thanks for being on the webinar today. I'm going to promise you 3 things. Number 1, I'll be done on time. And if you know me, that's a big promise. Number 2, I'm going to be reasonably clear on what I'm going to help you with. And number 3, I'm going to cover why you need to use Katoomba to grow your business, along with what to measure and how it will create growth for your salon if you implement the learnings. So if that's okay with you, I'm going to get underway. So it's normally about this time in a webinar, and I've sat on many webinars as an attendee like you guys are, where the presenter will launch into a 10-minute spiel about who they are and why you should listen to them. I'm not going to do that today because we haven't got a lot of time, and if you want to know more about me, pop along to my website, which is just salonbusinesscoach.com, and have a look around. So the other thing that you need to know is I'm going to go reasonably hard and fast today because I've only got half an hour to help you with a lot of stuff. So right into it, the first thing that we need to cover, if I can get my screen working, is why. Why have all the information that Katoomba can give you, from client sales to reports to histories to marketing info? I mean, don't we have enough to do as business owners just trying to run the thing from day to day, trying to get the salon just operating on a daily basis? And I guess that's a really good question, you know, that why question. The reason why is to help you actually get out of the day-to-day running. It's to elevate you to the next level. And I mean, think about it. Many of us are so busy looking after our own clients that we barely have time to see what we're achieving with them and what potential that there is within those, let alone the rest of the team, what they're doing and how they're progressing. So I want you to think about that for a minute. When was the last time you actually took an hour out of your client day and sat in front of the system and really analysed what the business was actually doing, what your business is actually doing, and what your team are doing? When did you last look at the reports, and more importantly, then have a discussion about performance with your teammates? You know, when did you last look at the reports as a measure of the expectations that you have of the team? If you have any. A lot of salon owners that I talk to have got expectations, but their team don't know about those expectations. So when was the last time you shared that information? You know, many salon owners don't have a systemized way of creating expectations of performance, and the ones that do have some form of system don't have a measurement system around it. So that's not good for business, guys. So if you're one of those salons that don't have a system, hopefully after today's webinar you'll get to see how important that really is. And to be honest, we could probably spend the next 20 or so minutes just talking about that one area and hardly scratch the surface of it. Now, of course, I don't have time to talk about everything today, but if you'd like some help around setting and measuring expectations, then just give me a yell later. So when did you last look at your results against what you think you're doing? Look, at so many times I'll ask a client a question around results, like what is your colour percentage at the moment? How's your rebooking rate? And I know that they've got a system like Katoomba sitting at their front desk, but a lot of the time the answer I get is, oh, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's around X percent, 30% or 40%. And do you know what I do when I hear that? I immediately discount it by 20 to 50%. I take 20 to 50% off what they're saying, and then that's probably more like the result they're actually getting. Because effectively what we do is we over-exaggerate when we don't know. We always think we're doing better than we are actually doing when we don't have the facts in front of us. Now I could go on about that all day today as well, but back to the main point of what we're talking about and answering the question why. It is knowledge is power. If you know what you are doing, you also know with accuracy what you're not doing, and that's where the potential is. Is this making sense? You can give me a yes in the comments box or the question box if it is. And don't worry, I'm also going to help you with the what. So what to measure and what to do with the information that you get a little later on. Now, I'm not sure, well, I'm sure you've all heard the term, what gets measured gets done. And it's a term coined by the American management guru Peter Drucker. And what he means is that regular measurement and reporting keeps you focused. Because you can use the information that your system is collating for you automatically to make key decisions and to improve you and your team's results. So it's about measuring, and what gets measured gets done. Another one of Peter's famous sayings is there's nothing quite so useless as doing with great efficiency something that should not be done at all. Now that may sound a bit confusing, so I'm going to read it to you again. There's nothing quite so useless as doing with great efficiency something that should not be done at all. And how many of us can put our hands up and admit to being efficient at doing the absolute wrong thing that's ineffective or doesn't have any result for our business and is next to meaningless to us actually achieving what we want? And if you're sitting there thinking, no, I don't think that's me, I want you to think about the last time that you scrolled through your Facebook feed, your personal Facebook feed, answering comments on friends' timelines and what have you, when you should have been doing work, when you should have been actually maybe working. If you had 20 minutes, you could have worked out the next promotion. So we all do things that don't have a direct result on what we're trying to achieve. And I can be heard saying a lot, and on more than one occasion with my clients, and you read that as all the time, that they probably get so tired of hearing it. But basically it's do the things that take you closer to your goals and stop doing the things that move you away from them. And it's as simple as that. So when you're looking at your reports, when you're understanding them and you're using them to plan the future and what you're going to do, once you create that little plan, actually ask yourself this one question: does it move me towards my goal, or does it move me away from it? If it moves towards, go for it. If it moves you away, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. It just means that maybe now's not the time and it can go on a to-do later list. So remember, what gets measured gets done. And your most crucial, critical measurements, they're called key performance indicators, or KPIs for short. So what are key performance indicators? I'm assuming that you probably all know. However, what we don't know is the difference between maybe KPIs and metrics, and you might have heard the term metrics. And so KPIs are a small number of agreed upon metrics or measurements that reflect what your critical goals are for success. So it's a snapshot, if you like, of what we are focused on at the moment to take us towards our goals. They're normally measurable, they're normally objective, and they're definitely actionable. As I said, you may have heard the two metrics and wondered, well, aren't they the same thing? But if you think of it this way, that you can have, and you do have in Katoomba, dozens and dozens of metrics that let you know how things are running in the salon on a daily basis. But with KPIs, you actually select and elevate a few of those metrics and raise their importance. So they become more like goalposts, if you like, strategic goalposts for your team to perform and work towards. That's what your KPIs are. So if you've got a pad and pen ready, I've got a few KPIs to get you started. So a basic set of KPIs for a salon would be service dollars on a weekly or monthly basis, retail dollars, a rebooking rate, client retention rate, colour percentage, treatment percentage, new client rate, average client spend, desk sales, and total sales. So KPIs are the key metrics that you're focusing on from the hundreds of metrics available in your business to monitor. And they can and should be changed as your goals get achieved and your targets met. And I meet a lot of salon owners who are still having the same KPIs as they've always had, whereas it's maybe time to change a few of them. Maybe it's time to actually look at different aspects of the business. You know, you can have KPIs for sales and you can also have KPIs for service improvement. So Katumba's got a few different ways that you can measure the performance against your KPIs. You know, you've got your reporting. So the key report is the business summary report, and most of the information that you will ever need is on that report for your KPIs. You can also look at it, look at the information in your benchmark reports if you've got access to Katumba One. And some of your KPIs sit in the new target area of Katumba, and also, you know, in client files. So depending on what your metric is that you're measuring, it depends on where to look for in Katumba. So I'm not going to sit here today and tell you where you should be looking and finding, because we've probably all got different KPIs that we're working on. But suffice to say, if you don't measure your results against your key performance indicators, then you might as well not have key performance indicators. If you don't know where to find the information, go looking or give the help desk a call. They'll help you with it. But please have KPIs and have measurement systems in place. But also what's really important is there's only minor benefit in looking at and knowing the figures if that's all you do with them. You know, just knowing them isn't really enough. The secret sauce to utilizing that knowledge is to set targets for growth based on current results. You know, to go somewhere, you need to know where you're starting from. And that's where your business reports are your first port of call. And I quite often get asked from clients, they say, well, how far back should I go if I want to get an average? And I say 3 months is a good time frame to get an average. The last 3 months. And the reason why is it gives you enough weeks to get an average, but you're not going so far back that it's old data. You want current data. There's a proviso with that 3-month period, and that is if there's a Christmas involved in the 3 months. So if Christmas is involved, because we have such a busy time at Christmas and our KPIs go, you know, our results go way up, then what I would do is take 6 months of data and get an average across the 6 months so that your Christmas is neutralized. Okay, so if you're looking for an average and it doesn't involve Christmas, 3 months. If it involves Christmas, 6 months. And that's where you end up knowing where you are today so that you can then launch from there to where you want to be in the future. Don't just limit yourself either to sales figures for KPIs. You know, maybe you want to grow your clientele and you're specifically doing promotions around client growth. You know, you can use the new client data from your reports to monitor the results and use it to actually fine-tune the promotions. A lot of people do promotions and it either works or it doesn't work, and they go, oh, that didn't work, so I'm not going to do that again. But do you actually analyze that promotion and say, well, I wonder why it didn't work? Was it because of the headline? Was it because the price was wrong? Or was it because I didn't offer a testimonial? And so testing and measuring marketing, and I'm going to get into marketing a little later, but you know, measure the results and tweak it. don't assume because it didn't work that it won't ever work. It may just need a little tweak. And remember, what gets measured gets done. So the mere fact of that you are measuring your promotions or your KPIs, it provides focus, and focus is what people need to actually work towards getting a better result. And remember, knowledge is power. So take time to really understand the information your reports are telling you. And you know what, if you struggle with that, don't be afraid or ashamed to ask. You know, like business coaches like me and lots of us around, and especially those of us that actually have been in this industry and have had salons and still got salons, understand how salons work. And we're more than capable and more than happy to help. So, you know, if you're not sure what to do or how to do it and you just want to ask a question, reach out and ask. Don't be afraid. And the other thing too about KPIs is there's no rule when it comes to them. If you want to measure something, then find out what you're doing today and set a target to improve it. There's no rule around it. Measure it, adjust accordingly along the way if need be. Just don't try and do too many additional targets at once, because that just leads to overwhelm and chaos. And I don't know about you, but I've been there, and I go there often these days too. So, you know, don't do too many, just do manageable amounts. Okay, is that a deal? Cool. So what are the key steps to get started with KPIs? The key, and probably way far ahead of all the others, step one is make sure that your team understand the KPIs that you expect from them. I mean, you can be the biggest expert on your KPIs, but if the team don't know or don't understand it, then it's of little use you knowing and understanding it. So that's the number one key. Number two, determine which indicators are important to you. You know, what are those vital few indicators or KPIs that tell you things are working as intended? What is it you're needing to hit constantly so that you know business is progressing well? Assess which of the elements can be collected easily, and if they can't be, if the information that you want can't be collected easily, find out how to measure it. Look for a way so that you can measure the results. If it's too hard, you won't do it. You'll lose interest and generally stop, and so will your team. Number five is if you need to look in different parts of Katoomba to measure, so say your KPIs come from 7 different areas of Katoomba, grab a book or grab a bit of paper and create your own dashboard so that you can write all your KPIs that you're working on and the results from them and the tracking of them all in the one sheet. Bring it to staff meetings, show the team on a dashboard, you know, create graphs, create, you know, targets and what have you. It does, you know, the system you've got is to assist you in running your business. It's not running your business for you. So if you need to create a dashboard on a bit of paper because that's the easiest way to talk about it, go do that. And that brings me to the 6th one, and that's discuss results. Discuss them with your team, and don't be afraid to make changes to the KPIs until you're satisfied that they're exactly what you're aiming for. Use the reports to dig down to analyze the KPIs. You know, use them for planning what we want to do. You know, again, it's where are we now, where do we want to be, and what's the difference? The KPIs are one measurement technique in your arsenal of all the techniques you've got in running your business. They can be a quick and useful tool to let you diagnose the strengths and weaknesses in your processes. You can use them to make strategic decisions. Should we put our prices up? Should we change premises? You know, one of the KPIs you might set is monitoring feedback from clients, and if you're getting feedback that you're in the wrong location, then that KPI is really important to know, isn't it? So, you know, use it to monitor everything that you want to monitor. And don't forget that the real value is in the discussion of the results with the team, not necessarily the numbers themselves. So some of you analytical people that are listening, don't be over analytical. Yes, analyze the numbers, but the value in them is actually the discussion with the team and the motivation and the incentive that they get in wanting to achieve the KPIs. And remember that it was Albert Einstein that said everything that can be counted does not necessarily count, and everything that counts cannot necessarily be counted. I love my sayings today. So marketing, I'm racing through this because I know I'm probably going to run out of time soon. This is another area that's way underutilized in Katoomba, and that's the marketing power. Did you know that you can virtually double your turnover year on year if you utilize the features of this one aspect of the system? My experience of this is that a lot of salon owners know they should be doing more, or they actually should be doing some marketing, but they're either too busy actually doing clients to actually do anything. Actually, have you heard the story of the salon owner who was too busy to stop and get petrol and was late to where she was going because she ran out of gas? It's a good story to listen to. It's a good message in that little story. Or the salon owners, you don't necessarily know what to do. You know, some people just don't know what they should or could be doing. And so they go into a kind of procrastination stage and they stay there. But you know what? It's better to be doing something than doing nothing, because doing something will change things. Doing nothing won't. Gee, there are three types of people in the world. There are those that make things happen, there are those that let things happen, and there are those that say, what happened? Now, I'm not sure which camp you lovely listeners fall into, but if it's either of the second two, then it's actually time to shake yourself off, get out of the procrastination zone, and actually just do something. And if you don't know what to do, then tap into the knowledge of someone who might. You know, ask a friend, ask a colleague, you know, grab hold of a business coach and bend their ear, or a mentor, anyone. Remember to ACT, which is an acronym for Action Changes Things. So in other words, do something. Call me, email me, call a coach, you know, let's talk about how we can help double your income using the tool that you've got at the front desk. It's worth the investment. And if you're the sort of person with great intentions to call and you think, oh, I must do that, but never get around to it, do something right now. If you want me to call you, put your name, salon name and phone number in the question box right now. Donna will give it to me and I'll give you a call. Anyway, it was George Patton. Here's another one of my little great sayings. George S. Patton, General Patton, said, a good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan executed next week. Do something. Stop waiting for perfection and start doing stuff. And Katoomba makes it easy for you to automate at least some of your marketing. And it's important to do this as it's designed around gaining clients and creating loyal clients for you. So let's have a quick look at some areas that you can sort right now today, if you're not using, that will create and increase business. Who wants more money? Well, you know, you've got to plan and then action it. So here's 5 areas that you can monetize right now in your marketing with Katoomba. The first area is new clients. Do you have a new client pack? Do you offer them something to take away or something that you send to them with at least 3 offers for return visits? An example of that might be offer number 1 is $25 off your next cut and blow wave with us. Offer number 2 might be $50 off your next colour cut and blow wave with us. And offer number 3 might be a free shampoo and conditioner personally chosen for your hair type with your third visit, on your third visit. Now, I'm not a great lover of discounts, but when you're building a clientele, when you want to get people to come back to you, discount like that in a voucher form works. Number 2, regular newsletter. You know, and a lot of people go, oh, don't roll out the newsletter band for me. A regular newsletter doesn't have to be every week or every month. You can do a quarterly newsletter in tune with the new seasons and the new season's fashions. You could do a monthly news sheet where you talk about what the goss is happening in the salon, promotions, and what we're doing on Facebook and all that sort of thing. Number three, VIP clients. What are you doing for your VIP clients that make them feel special? Think of different benefits that they get as a VIP and tell the rest of your database what the VIP people get in your salon. Number four, referrals. Use the system. Look at your top 20 clients and specifically design something around them referring their friends, because if they're your top 20, their friends can be in your top 22. And don't do the standard referral program that rolls out ad infinitum all year. Pick 3 or 4 months of the year and say that's our referral month, that's our promotion. June is when we promote referrals in our salon. Number 5, lapsed clients. You need to be following up on lapsed clients. And you may have heard me say in the past that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Are you showing clients that you care by following up if they haven't visited for a while? Again, Katoomba makes it really easy to do, and if you're not doing it by letter, do it by phone. Give people a ring and say, hey, haven't seen you for a while. I was just wondering, is there something wrong? Use the data that you've got to grow your business. How are we going for time, Donna? Got a couple of minutes left?
A couple of minutes to go, yeah.
Oh, well, I better race. There's heaps more marketing that you can be doing using Katoomba. And so, if you don't know what to do, if you're not sure, what it's got, give the help desk a call. They can walk you through all the features that maybe you're not using. Don't leave your system sitting at your front desk being a glorified appointment maker. Anyway, here's another area. Do you use the stock area or the stock part of Katoomba? Or are you still ordering the old-fashioned way by looking at the shelf and telling the rep what you want and they write it down and off they go? If you're doing the second way, telling the rep, then you're probably spending anywhere from 3 to 10% or more on stock than you need to. And that's that's just you spending profit that you don't need to spend. Did you know that your total salon stock bill should be sitting around the 12 to 16% of your turnover? Most salons I start working with sit around 20 to 25%, and that's generally anywhere from 6 to 8 to 12% too high. So what could you do with an extra, say, 8% of profit? I mean, if we work it out, I'm just going to give you an example here. If a salon turnover is $300,000, that's $24,000 a year extra that they're spending on stock that they don't need to. Would $24,000 be useful in your pocket rather than your supplier's pocket if you sit around that $300,000 turnover? That sounds like a damn good holiday or a nice car to me. But anyway, not only can you save money by monitoring your ordering through Katoomba and obviously setting minimums and maximum levels, the way to grow your business with stock is to analyze the data so that you're spending on the products that you are using and selling and reducing what's not selling and what you're not using down to nothing. So you should be constantly fine-tuning your stock to carry only what turns over. And if someone comes in and if you don't carry a certain product and someone wants it off the street as a desk sale, there's no harm in saying, sorry, we don't carry that product. The one that we carry is this one, because you can't be everything to everyone. It costs you too much money trying to be everything to everyone. So unless you're in a high foot traffic area and your front of house is dedicated to walk-in retail sales, then that's a different story. But most salons aren't in that situation, so manage your stock to just carry what you sell and use and ditch the rest. Oh, and one other point, don't always get sucked in by what the reps might tell you about the deal. Unless you know you can turn a deal over quickly, quite often those deals can end up costing you money, and that's percentages, a percent that is coming out of your profit. So let's do a quick recap. and run through the main points again. Today was about making more use of your reports in Katoomba to grow your business. And I guess the first thing we discussed was why. And remember what the why is. The why is knowledge is power. If you know what you are doing, you also know with accuracy what you're not doing, and that's where the potential lies. And then we talked about measuring, and what gets measured gets done. So the question is, are you measuring, and are you measuring the right things, the right KPIs? Which brings us to looking at the KPIs. And I told you some of the KPIs that you should be measuring and benchmarking against. And remember the 7 key steps to KPIs, which if you haven't jotted them down, listen to the replay and find that area so you can jot them down. We looked at using Katoomba for your marketing, to make more money, and a lot of that can be automated. And finally, we talked about stock and how much that's probably costing you if you're not actually managing it properly within Katoomba. So all in all, we covered quite a bit today, didn't we? And I'm just a minute over. So have we got time for a couple of questions, Donna?
We certainly have. It is a lot to cover. It is a lot to cover in a session, and just to let people know that we will be sending the recording out if they wanted to just recap on a few things. That'll be going out tomorrow to everybody who's registered, so that will be available to recap. So if you've got any questions, now's the time to pop them in the question pane, and then we can get Malcolm to answer those for us. While we're waiting for that, I'll just have a quick look. Okay, so while we're waiting for those, I was just thinking about the $24,000 you mentioned, Malcolm. That's a lot of money.
Sure is. It's nothing to be sneezed at.
No, I can think of a whole.
And the sad thing is, the sad thing is that many salons don't actually realise that how much it's costing them, not actually managing their stock properly.
Yeah. Okay, now I have got a question that's popped up. So you've talked about KPIs, so what's a good number of KPIs to concentrate on each month? I know you mentioned several before, but the question is, from our listener, what's a good number of KPIs to concentrate on each month?
It's actually a really good question. The number will vary, but you don't want to do so many that you get confused. So anywhere between say 3 and 5 is a good number to focus on. And each month 2 or 3 of them might be the same for quite a while. But I wouldn't necessarily want to do more than 5 unless you've got a really good management system, a strict regime on measuring, because it can get a bit chaotic and confusing. So 3 to 5 is the answer to that one, in my opinion.
Okay, that's cool, thank you. And we're
cool. You're welcome.
Just having a look to see if we've got any more. So now's the time to ask you questions while we've got Malcolm with us. Okay, while we're just waiting to see if there's any more, just a reminder that next week we're talking about the business summary and how to read it, what you can get out of it, and how you can put that to use. So we lead right into that next week. So I hope. Perfect after today. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm not actually seeing any more questions in the...
No more questions? Okay, cool.
We'll leave it there for today. Thank you very much, Malcolm, for joining us today, and thank you to our listeners. And
you're welcome, and I'm happy to take questions if someone thinks of something later. My email address is on the screen. Just flick me an email and I'm happy to reply. And like I offered during the webinar too, if you want some help, just give me a yell. Happy to help.
That's great, thank you. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, and have a fantastic rest of the day.
Thanks, Donna. Thanks, everyone. See you later.